Hey everybody, Justin DeLay from Reverb.com here, and today we are really excited. We're going to be taking a closer look at the brand new Arturia DrumBrute, fully analog, real-time performance-based drum machine with 17 different sounds available for sequencing and for tone shaping. You've got two headphone outputs, which is really convenient. You've got a 1/4 inch output as well as an 1/8 inch output. You've got your mix output, and that's gonna carry the whole sound out. And then you have individual analog outputs for all of the sounds in the drum machine, and this is incredible. This is, to me, what really turns this into a professional instrument, I mean, frankly. But the fact that you can tap into each of these individually opens up a world of possibilities. And you can run the clap into a reverb pedal. You can record each of these outputs into your audio interface and get individual stems that you can then cut up and process however you want. DrumBrute does have USB, and this is how you can connect to a computer to do MIDI input, MIDI output, how to send firmware updates if necessary, and how to interact with the software that Arturia provides. You've got an analog clock out and an analog clock in. Of course, you have MIDI out and MIDI in. So just got a kick drum that I designed earlier with a simple snare and a closed hi-hat with a little bit of variation. First thing that you're gonna hear is that the hi-hats, both the closed and the open, as well as the cymbals, have a very rough, metallic vibe to them. And I think that's really one of the key characters of the sound of the DrumBrute. And while we're at it, let's also bring in the open hat. Let's actually, I'm now gonna solo the snare drum. We've got tone, got some decay. This is gonna really shape the sound of the snare. Of course, the only thing more important than a snare in a drum machine is the bass. So let's bring that back in. I'm actually gonna solo it in. Pitch control on this is a pretty tightly defined range across the instruments. You've got your decay, so we're pretty tight right now. We're gonna crank this up. You know, and that's that classic big booming sound. We've got what's called impact. And then finally, to really bring back that just classic analog bass drum vibe, you have pitch sweep. These pattern effects, which allow you to, on a per sound basis, you can do things like change the swing amount. So you can swing your hi-hats, get a little more of a groove. Arturia was nice enough to introduce what they call randomness. And randomness can be applied just like swing can be applied on a per track basis. you've got a funky drummer playing hi-hats inside of your drum machine, which is pretty awesome. And Arturia was helpful enough to build in this, this touch strip here, which allows you to essentially grab loops of your phrase. So this is that same Steiner Parker filter that Arturia has been using in many of their products. There are two velocity levels. There's step and accent, and they're on two different buttons. And you can set accent on a per sound basis. The polyrhythmic capabilities of the DrumBrute are pretty amazing. So we're in polyrhythm mode, and what we're gonna do is we're looking at the kick drum here, and if we hit last step mode, you can see that step 6 is lit up here, right? And if you follow that nice little pink light there, you see that every 6, it restarts, okay? So that means that our bass drum is on a 6-step loop. And when you switch over to step, you can see exactly what's happening. So we've got an accented hit, and then these two sort of ghost notes in a 6-beat pattern. Now I know what you're saying, now Justin, I thought patterns were divisions of 4. 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Yeah, that's right. That's why this is so cool. So right away, we've got a bass drum that's cycling on a 6. It's just interesting, different. And now if we take a look over at our snare drum, we can see that I'm gonna hold last step, and we're gonna see visually that this is an 8-step pattern here. It goes without saying that if I were to push a different step, that would be the new last step, and it would sound very different, like this. Right? So now we've just got a 4-step pattern going. We didn't do anything different. We've still just got one accented hit on the first step, but you can see that it's just sitting there banging on that. And if we were to go back to 8 steps, okay, so in summary, Arturia DrumBrute, awesome analog drum machine. It's gonna withstand the stage. It's gonna be a great creative addition to your studio. And we haven't even gotten into all the cool stuff you can do with the Arturia software that it comes with, all the crazy stuff you can do with the individual outputs, and all the crazy stuff you can do syncing with other pieces of gear, for instance, the Korg Minilog. So we are going to just hit play on this, jam on this a little bit, jam on that a little bit, see where it takes us.